It's Kringle Time. Sit back and relax as we dive into a world of laughter and learning with the Kringle Brothers, reminding us that we are better together.
Hey,
Hey,
welcome to Kringle Time, everybody.
hello everyone. Oh, we got some great people with us. We have Santa Kevin and Santa
Ooh,
Bill and Santa Allen and Restoration Workshop and
oh, and
Willie
Bubba's
Burnett.
online.
Oh my goodness, we're having so
Santa
much fun
Dave's
already.
online.
Santa Kane, Santa Lane
Santa
is with us.
Bill.
Oh, and Louis Emmanuel's with us. And hey, Bubba and Dave Denby and Bill Corbett. Oh my goodness, we have such a great crowd with us already
No,
tonight.
I love that jazz intro.
I do too. I was over here singing and dancing. I was like, that's what I do.
So I'm your host. Welcome to Kringle Time. I'm one of your hosts, Michael. And
And I'm Herbie.
wait, I got to remember to do opposite.
It's always opposite. That's
So it's
Michael. That's Herbie.
you know what? You got a piece of paper. You
Why?
know,
You want me to put my
hand
name
me
on it?
hand me a piece of paper if you would.
All right.
Thank you.
There we go.
No, I saw Doug and Chris do that the other night where they handed it through and they had it worked out like just as you got it here, they put their paper up
Right.
on the other side of it so that it made it like the illusion like
Yeah. So when you go like this, and then I
yeah,
take it from here and go from
it
here.
was really fun to watch. Thank you, Doug and Jenny, if you're doing that. I mean, I appreciate it. So tonight, I'm
Tonight.
I'm excited. Tonight we move in when we talk about the heart of a Christmas performer. Um,
Well, we're
you
always
know,
excited about something, though.
I get excited easy. I think it's an ADHD. What before I do that? So, how's your week? Did you have anything? Didn't get a
Right.
chance to talk to you and hardly at all this week.
Well, yeah, I know you've been busy. You had
Well,
Santa lunch today, and then you got things going on.
I got
No, it's actually been.
school. Yeah, the school was good. I can't wait. Well, next week we'll talk about what happened at the school a little bit. I'll save that for
Yeah.
next week.
But no, for me, I was just doing some Easter Bunny stuff. I did a Easter Bunny breakfast on Sunday, and oh, let me tell you, oh, always check your calendar and verify times. Oh my goodness, there. I actually ran out the door with the gig starting in 30 minutes and got everything set up and dressed in 25 minutes.
Oh
So,
my! And you can't, and you don't drive with your bunny hat on.
oh, I can. I can't even fit it in with the ears. Thank you, Boris.
Yeah, sometime I didn't. We should ask Boris sometime how he does some of that.
Oh, I don't know, but Boris, if you want mascot information, everybody talk to Boris. Oh my goodness, here.
Boris,
But
yeah.
we have a great show today, though. It's
All right.
always fun. This is a highlight for a lot of my visits as well as doing the show. How about you?
It's what I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, we're talking tonight about one of the chambers of our Christmas performers. We're talking about performance. In other words, putting it together, taking that stuff that we talked about, working on the inside, and then of course last we talked about working on the outside, props and stuff with Sam, and then or with I should say suit and looking your best, boots, beard, and buckles, and now we're putting it together. And we'll keep wrapping through all this information. There's more than just what we can share for just the moment kind of thing, But let me read down what I wrote for this area of performance skills.
All right.
Mastering performance skills is essential for captivating your audience of all ages. A Christmas performer must excel in storytelling, singing, improvisation, and audience interaction. I mean, some of those things I would rewrite that. I'm going to say the word excel needs to come off of that, in that definition that I wrote. It's one of those you just need to do your best and have fun with it. I'll say that more and more again. Just have fun with it. Always working on improving. I mean, that's an important step, but you know what? Also have fun. And we'll come back to that with a different story of things that happen. So let me finish what I was reading. All right. They skillfully engage their audience, sustain energy levels. Michael, that's easy for you. All right. The adaptation approach based on the audience feedback. You want to be flexible, easy to adapt. And these skills ensure a captivating and a memorable experience for everyone there, everyone who comes. So That's performance.
That's
So
performance.
a little bit, you know what I mean? And I'll come back to that. Uh, I, I think the worry sometimes is when we talk about performing or skilling and people aren't used to it and they hear about you've got to excel, you've got to no. It's like the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. And you just have fun with it, you
Isn't
know.
that the only way to eat an elephant, though?
Just one bite. Well,
One bite at a
otherwise
time.
you choke.
Well, you're making very good points. I think with some of the people that we've actually talked to, that when we talk about being a performance-based Santa or being a entertainer, they get afraid and they say, "I can't do that." And this is one of the particular things with storytelling that I just want everybody to come and realize that we tell stories every single day.
Every day.
And even if your friend or coworker or your wife goes, "Hey, what'd you do today?" You're literally telling a story. So
Yep.
everybody can tell a story. But one of the things I think Michael and I really wanted to touch on today when we talk about the performance aspect of the heart was not just storytelling. We'll talk a little bit about that. But one of the things that we wanted to discuss are the tools of storytelling.
Yeah.
But I think, Michael, you have a wonderful video.
Yeah, in other words, so I asked some Santa friends if I asked them the question, what makes a good storyteller? And here's some of the responses that I got from them.
I think being a good storyteller, you have to have confidence. Now, we tell stories every day, so be confident in the fact that you naturally tell stories.
To me, a good storyteller is someone that can take the audience out of the world around them and bring them into the world of the story. And what do I mean by that? Well, whether it's like acting or formal storytelling or any kind of performing, like juggling or magic, anything like that, in order to bring them into the world of the story, you have to be fully present at all times. And so I think that takes a lot of talent, but also it takes a lot of commitment as well. Once you do that, they forget where they are. They forget everything else that's going on in their life, and they are just enveloped because they are living the story themselves.
In my opinion, what makes a great storyteller is the ability to hold that audience in your hands, suspend their disbelief, and take them on the journey with you.
So one thing that I feel that makes a good storyteller, a storyteller will not just tell you a story, once upon a time, ... lived happily ever after, the end, and that's it. What I've noticed, in my Santa journey, what I've noticed about storytellers is that they have a way of hooking you, that they know how to incorporate these different types of emotions. That's the word I was looking for, emotions. Again, whether it's a happy feeling, a sad feeling, an angry feeling, but just able to incorporate those emotions into the story is what I feel makes a great storyteller.
I think that a good storyteller has to know their audience, who they're talking to. Ages are really important in that younger children have a real short attention span, and older children are able to visualize things better and help with your storytelling if you let them.
For me, a good storyteller doesn't just tell you what happened, they make you feel what happened. It has nothing to do with perfect words. It's about real emotion, because people may forget the story, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Now, a great storyteller carries more than words. They carry meaning. It's the look in their eyes, the pause in their voice, and the heart behind every sentence, because it's the best stories that remind us of who we are and who we can be.
Hey, they gave us some great information, didn't they?
But you know what was amazing watching that video is their definition of what a storyteller is was was wide ranging. There was nobody that had the same thing in there. And I think that's one of the things that as being a storyteller that we need to know and to come to understand. It's everybody has a different perspective of what a storyteller is and how do they do it. But do you know what the key part is with this whole thing?
Right.
Is when you find a story and you want to tell the story, you have to tell it in your own words.
Hmm.
I mean, you and I have been very fortunate being able to work with Steve Gillum and learning a lot of his stories. But one of the things we both notice, and even between you and I as being brothers, we tell the same stories, but we don't tell them exactly alike.
No, in other words, yeah, my voice inflection, how I deliver it is completely different than you.
And that's what the amazing part. And this is like I think one of the focuses that we wanted to do on this today's episode was giving you the Christmas performer 7 tools that it can maybe help you energize, reinvigorate, or get you started in becoming a storyteller.
In other words, those 7 tools that we want to share with you are from this book here, The Art of Storytelling by John Walsh. This, in my opinion, right, whatever that's worth, is a great beginning storyteller for the fearful, for the anxiety, for those who say, I can't tell a story. Well, you can tell a story. And I love the way John pens a lot of the information in here. Super simple. This is a good entrance to understanding storytellers, especially if you've never told a story or you're fearful. So I really would recommend picking this book up, The Art of Storytelling by John Walsh. You can get it on Amazon. And one of the nice things is that there's YouTube videos to go with every chapter. So in other words, not only, so what I like about John is that he'll share information, you're right, and then he gives you basically a little bit of a homework assignment. And it's simple, simple, simple. It's not like, I mean, don't worry about it, but it's great information. So the things Mike and I want to talk about tonight are the 7 tools that he mentions in this book, and then kind of how they implement and they work in our lives and our storytelling ability. So, Mike, go ahead, do the
Let me
first
take.
tool.
I will do the first. The first tool is imagination.
I
Now
love it.
there'll be different clause performers or storytellers that will kind of have 2 different ideas on this subject. For me, and for what I learned from Michael and from other very good master storytellers, is this. First of all, we never want to memorize a story. By memorizing a story, you kind of you handcuff yourself. And what I mean by that is simply this. If you're telling the story and there is an interruption or you forget a line or there's something that just goes askew, you're going to basically forget everything and it's not going to have the same impact. But with the tool of using your imagination, what John Walsh is referring to in this particular tool is when you have the story and you can picture the story in your mind, you'll be able to utilize your imagination as an outline. So no matter what happens within the crowd, with any of your guests or clients, you'll always be able to go back and tell the story because you can see it as it unfolds in your mind.
Well, anything that I do, if I can picture it in my head, then I can just describe the picture that I see. So like, I mean, you even close your eyes and think about, think about breakfast this morning. Close your eyes. Can you see the table where you ate at, or where the in your chair, or what you're doing and the setting? If you can close your eyes, visualize it, then there it is. That's giving you a base for your story. Your imagination is such a great thing. And then of course you can add whatever you want to the story and make it fun too. So with a lot of us, we talk about North Pole. How did you make it where you North Pole your story? Take something you already know, and then you make it North Pole, you know, kind of
We're
very
kind of
well.
we're drifting a little bit here. When you are trying to locate a story to tell, or you're trying to get some inspiration, um, a lot of people refer back to different folklore tales. And what they do is they find a particular tale that they like, but then they Christmasify it. And how does it work? I mean,
Christmas pie.
a Christmasify. A classic story is the shoemaker and the elves. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with Santa or Mrs. Claus, but a few tweaks here and there, it would be a great origin story of how the elves may have come up to Santa to help him and then basically found a place to live as Santa and Mrs. Claus started to take care of them. And in return, they started making toys. So, by using your imagination, by Christmasifying a tale, you can make yourself some wonderful, wonderful stories. Why don't you take the next one, Michael?
All right, facial expressions. In other words, what I love about that, our faces communicate life, and they communicate enthusiasm. So, in other words, enthusiastic, right? In other words, um, your face and expressing your face, right? All the gestures and everything that you do will communicate. Is this a sad part of the story? You know, so when I visualize, back to the visualization of it, right? When I, in my imagination, if I can see the character's face, then I can try to mimic it in my own, like, oh, you know, they were very, very good, you know. And so wide eyes, those all add, those facial expressions all add to the emotion. Back to what a lot of things the brothers and the sisters said in the video, you know, taking, and it touches the emotion, you know, that a good storyteller will reach in more than this. And so I find, for me, it's my interaction, facial expressions, and how, if I'm excited, that my audience naturally comes excited to the children that I'm talking to.
But as the old adage goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Oh,
So just by simply learning how your facial expressions can maybe take up some can replace some of the words, some of the vocabulary that you may be using, instead of saying, you know, I was surprised what I saw the elves did, you could just be simply, oh my gosh, and then the expression on your face can relay all the things that you want to say, and it's just so much easier. Don't you agree?
yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. A lot easier, which then
But
it brings it, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead, finish your
No,
thought.
no, 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 you go ahead.
All right. Well, the thing I was going to also say too, the thing I was also going to mention too, when it just comes to facial expression, is remember this, that storytelling is verbal. And though most of us, or all of us, except for Mrs. Claus's and maybe a few elves, have a beard, whether it's a designer, theatrical, or real, we want to make sure that we're not covering up our faces, as this is one of the main tools that we use to tell the story itself. You're going to get so much more response if you are open, if you're clear, than hiding behind something or turning your face off to the side unless it's necessary. So always remember to think how you are presenting yourself and your facial features in relaying a story.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the next tool is body movement. In other words, making sure you're listening to what you say compared to what you see. You know, if a long time ago there was a really sad girl, you know what I mean? And so I get all excited. Wait a second. Oh, making sure, you know, your body movements are matching what you're saying in the story, which you know, one of the things working at the Great Wolf Lodge is that we get a mascot coming out. I come out for at least my lodge. I think you do the same. But we have a mascot that comes, you know, Wiley comes out, or Sam the squirrel. And I've learned so much about communicating with my body without saying a word, by watching these mascots and being with them. the expressions and the emotions that a mascot can produce. So Boris, I mean, yes, you're absolutely. I'm impressed with all your mascot work that Boris does. He was in the clip that he talked about, that we had a little bit earlier. So making sure that what you're saying is matching on your body movements and what people are seeing.
Well, also too is remember from body movements, as Michael said, is it's a very natural for us, and you'll notice I do this all the time. That when I'm speaking, I use my hands a lot. But one of the things which you also have to look at with storytelling is that the more gestures and the more movement that you put in can also take people's attention away from your story. Your body movements and the story must intertwine naturally because, and I'm going to read this from this is, where was it? Gestures, facial expressions, and body movements have the power to convince the audience that a fictional tale may indeed be true. But if we're utilizing unnecessary movement, then that can also take away from the story itself. So there's a fine line with body movement and facial expressions that need, don't you agree?
Yeah, purpose. In other words, I guess I look at it as there needs to be purpose in what you do. I mean, you don't do keep it passive if there's a purpose to be in still. But if there's not a purpose to be in still, making sure that it matches, it compares, So it's and that's why it's an art. It takes time, but of course, if you never practice it or never work on it, then you'll never get there either. So yeah, that makes sense.
Well, and our next tool that we want to talk about is a really important one, and that is your voice.
Yeah.
Now, we do know with various instructors that Michael and I have actually spoken to, and we've heard, and some professional speakers itself. If you're ever given an opportunity, mic yourself up. Don't over exert your voice by trying to scream across a room full of people
Yeah.
because you have to remember that your voice is kind of like the paint on a canvas. And without it, or if it gets thin or gets weak, it takes away from the magic moment of the story itself. And again, you also want to remember to slow down, which of course is my biggest fault because I'm so
Oh,
excited for everybody from everything that I go blah blah blah, and then next thing you know is I don't give people time to form their own ideas in there too.
yep, that's
Uh,
right. Yeah.
so And
Yeah.
again, speaking too quickly deprives other storytelling elements such as hand gestures, facial expressions, pauses, and body movements of their chance to participate. So, again, remember, take care of your voice. Try to be mic'd up when you are, when possible. Slow down.
Yeah, and because you want to be heard. I always, if I'm speaking in a larger audience, I'll have anywhere 120, 150, good night 200 in my audience, at the lodge. And I'm always wanting to speak to, even though I'm always wanting to make sure I'm talking to the back of the audience. I'm keeping my eye gestures in front and letting my eyes work the whole body, what I mean, my whole body with everybody, but I always want to make sure that I'm projecting to the back side of the room so that way everyone can hear well.
Also, too, and this is just another side note, if you are doing a performance and you are like talking to a large group of people at a time, whether it be a tree lighting or a performance or anything large scale, if you do have the time, work with the sound engineer and do a microphone check. So this way you can hear what you sound like and you can, as Michael said, you don't have to exert your voice to get to the very back of the room. You can let technology aid you at this time. All right,
Yeah.
I see you looking at the clock, Michael. Is it time to basically run our Kringle tracker and Larry?
Yeah, let's give some
Let's
thanks
do
to
it.
the people who help out the TNL network.
Are you going crazy managing clients, contracts, and invoices? Kringle Tracker is here to help you. Stay organized with ease. Keep your sanity in check with Kringle Tracker's intuitive tools to effectively manage your schedule and clients. Our seamless, customizable contract system allows you to tailor your contracts to you and your clients' needs. Prepare for tax time like a pro by tracking your income and expenses and generate reports to make it a breeze. Transform your claws business by signing up for a free 20-day trial. Kringle Tracker was created by a Claus for the Claus community so you can focus on making magical memories for your clients. Head over to kringletracker.com and sign up for your free trial today.
Ooh, we're back.
We're back. Hey, that's the first time we said something at the same time.
No, we didn't do it on purpose.
And that's why my friend Jinx showed me a Coke. Anyway.
Oh, Jinx got me. I love Jinx.
All right, Michael, why don't you take the next tool?
All right. The pause. Someone, I forgot who I saw it, but someone made the comment a little bit earlier about the pause, which is back to the voice thing. That pause is so much. You are familiar with the story, and I have to make sure I cognitively tell myself this. Slow down, Michael, and wait. So in other words, the pause, like, huh? And then literally I count in my head 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, and then move forward. That pause gives your audience a chance to form the pictures that you're telling them about. So you're seeing it in your head. You've already got the picture. You're speaking forth that story and telling them, but you've got to give your audience a chance to create that imagery in it. Now, I know for me, along with my ADHD, right, I'm dyslexic, unfortunately, which means I didn't visualize any books until my last year in college with my wife. And I'll never forget it. I'm reading this book. Everything was just information. That's what it was. I had to read something as information. And I'm pushing through this book that was recommended to me. The book's name was Hind's Feet on High Places, right? So I'm trying to get through this book, and all of a sudden, I start crying. And Linda looks at me, my wife, and she goes, "What's wrong?" And I went, "I can see her. I can see the waterfall. I can see the sunlight, right? Through the trees." And I looked at Linda and I went, "Is reading like this for you every day?" And she was astounded, right? That all of a sudden that was my first visualization. It was years, from school. I had to work so hard on decoding the words that my head didn't have time to create the image. That's why for me, telling a story, if I can think about it, create that imagery of it, then I can bring it back. But then for the audience to be able to create that imagery and the things that I say, I have to stop and pause and give them time to create that imagery for themselves.
Well, just like we use imagination to help us tell a story, you have to allow your listening audience to develop their own imagination. And when we tell a story, that's why we go into some detail as to the action, the environment, the surrounding, the setting. And by pausing, you basically allow the person to come into the story with you. And those that are kind of on the fence or are reluctant, by pausing, you actually compel them to set aside their thoughts and really sit down and listen to the story.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when I'm doing story reading, and the difference between storytelling is I'm just telling the story. Story reading is I have the book with me and I'm reading the book and then I'm showing pictures. But I find that pause just as important and my story reading with the children, along with trying to add the voices and all of that stuff. And now I'm following a script with it. That pause still gets them a chance to link up with me and become a part of the story. You know, yeah.
Well, I have a challenge for all 64, 65 people that are joining us tonight. I know many of you already have the visit from St. Nicholas, or 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, memorized. And many of us can rattle it off very quickly. Have you ever actually sat down or told the night before Christmas by picturing it in your head, learning different facial expressions, body movements, controlling your voice, and inputting pauses at different sections? What I'm trying to get you to feel, or what I'm trying to get you to see, is instead of just reciting the poem, live the poem. Recite it as if you actually experienced it, and see how that changes your telling of A Visit from St. Nicholas.
Yeah.
Now, the next tool that we want to talk about is something that my lovely wife Stacy asks me all the time, even from teaching or lecturing or going on a visit. Are you nervous?
Always. Always.
I couldn't agree more. Most of us look at nervousness as a curse or something bad. It's like you're afraid to go and do something. Well, that's not necessarily the truth about it. Nervousness is a gift. And why would you think something like that would be a gift? Well, because you're nervous, because you're afraid of messing up, what does one do? They over prepare for the event in itself. You already have contingency plans. If this goes wrong, then I can go this way. If this doesn't work, I can then venture into this way. So don't look at nervousness as something bad. Look at it as a positive, because why? You're being prepared. Don't you think so, Michael?
Well, yeah, when you're nervous, there's a natural hyper awareness where your senses become greater, your energy, becomes greater. All of those things that are an asset for your telling your story, being aware of the audience, so nervousness, it really is a gift. To tell your story, or a gift to whatever you're doing. I mean, public speaking is what I mean. I don't remember the stat off the top of my head, but the majority of people, they don't want to do it. And then all of a sudden now, as Santa, you're doing it. And and I'll throw this out because being dyslexic, and I don't get it. And John Walsh talks about it in his book a little bit too, but in a different way. When I'm Santa and I put my mindset I'm Santa, Santa's a good reader. And I read really well when I'm in the mindset of Santa. When I'm in Michael's mindset, I stumble over words. And you've heard me, read even some of the stuff that I've written down where, I stumble some on it. It's not completely fluid. But when I'm reading stories to the children, I'm much more fluid in my reading and the presentation. And I really believe it's because my mindset's Santa and I don't think about my dyslexia.
Well,
And
I
so
mean,
John, why don't you give the example about John in his book? Because remember, John's a
yeah,
stutterer.
yes, John Walsh actually stutters when he speaks. And early in his career, he was asked to give a sermon at his church, and he was afraid and nervous because he didn't want to be embarrassed because of his stutter. But as he got up to the pulpit and he began to give his sermon, he realized that he wasn't stuttering. And that just goes to show, being that he was nervous, he over prepared. And in all honesty, the preparation was there, but was not necessary, because he found his groove, he found his own way of doing things. But it just goes to show you that if you have a stutter, if you have dyslexia, if you are ADHD, anyone can tell a story.
Yeah.
What we're looking at doing right now is helping each one of you fine tune your presentation to make you a little bit more positive.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's do this. Why don't I let's do our dad joke for the night. We got Santa Ted in,
Oh, sure.
and then I'm going to ask you this question. So I'm giving you a little bit of time to think through as we work through the dad joke, and then we do our trivia. I'm going to
Okay.
ask you to give me an example of maybe a story or something that took place when you're at the lodge or a home visit or even when you've been out in public, an example of storytelling and some of the points that we've had here. So let's go ahead. There, I said it to you, making you so that way you're aware and you can prepare. Hopefully, I got your nerves up a little bit because I know that was an improv thing. So that way you can do your best. All right, good facial expression. Here we go.
I asked my wife to embrace her mistakes. She gave me a hug.
Now that was a great
Uh,
example. Thank you, Ted. That was a great example of the pause.
it was. It was a
You know what
good.
I mean?
He allowed you to sit there and think before the punchline came through instead of just hammering it home.
That's right. Thank you, Ted. We appreciate that a lot.
Well, do you want to go into the trivia right now too, or do you want
Yep.
to just go? All right, so we'll go back. Okay, I got to man up everything here, so bear with me.
All right, you got it all manned up and ready.
I am getting there. I am there. I am ready. Oh,
Let
nope,
me
I
go
lost
ahead
it
and
here.
run this, and then we can come back and we can share the guidelines.
Santa's Closet has been committed to providing unique, high-quality accessories for Santa, Mrs. Claus, and the entire Claus community. Our mission is to deliver exceptional customer service and outstanding value, offering competitive pricing and a wide selection of products designed to enrich the Claus experience.
Woo!
Okay,
Thank
the
you,
rule.
Wade and Scarlett. We appreciate it.
Yes, let's all
Everything
give
that
a
you
round of
do.
applause to Santa's Closet and Wade and Scarlett. Thank you so much. Now,
Yeah.
let's look at the rules.
All
If
right.
you have already won within the last 3 shows, this is our 4th show, right?
Un, deux, trois.
Yeah, exactly. Uno, dos, tres. Um, you are not eligible to win until after an 8-week hiatus. Number 2, unfortunately, we do not have the capabilities of shipping anything internationally. Of course, that includes Canada and Mexico. Unless you have a address here within the United States, you can't you could participate, but we won't be able to send you a prize. If you are tonight's winner, please ensure that you email us at kringlebrothers2
Oh,
at
wait, I can get this up.
gmails.com.
Wait, give me a second. Give me a second.
That's why
All
there it
right,
is
here we
right there.
go.
Just email us your name, your address, and your shirt size in case you are the recipient of a t-shirt. I think I
Woo!
covered all of it, Michael. So are you ready to go ahead with tonight's trivia?
All
And
right.
I'm manning Facebook and I'm manning YouTube.
All right. All right. Here we go. Wait, I got to get onto the comment section. I want to make sure I'm there. All right, here we go. Which country started the practice of putting up a Christmas tree? A Christmas tree. What country? Yeah, I feel like maybe I should have some music or something with that, right?
I don't know.
Shouldn't we? Like, you know what I mean? It would be like,
All right, I think we already got it.
you got a winner?
I think so. What's the answer?
The answer is which
There it
country
is.
started the practicing of putting up the Christmas tree? Germany. Ja, sehr gut, wunderbar.
It is the Vineyard Santa. Dun dun dun.
Tra la la. It's Captain Underwear. Isn't it?
It's Captain Underpants.
Oh yeah, Captain Underpants underwear. It's Captain Underwear. Here, yeah.
That's my favorite.
In other words, oh, Jeff and Jerry, they got it too, and
Yeah, I
Catherine
mean,
got it,
a
and
lot of
Gary
people got it, but
Bill got it.
the
Look at all these Germanys. Look at this is awesome. But who was the first one?
Vineyard Santa.
So, all right, Santa, if you'll like Herbie said a little bit ago, if you'll name us your first and last name and your address and your shirt size to Kringle Brothers 2 at gmail.com. We'll forward that information to Santa's Closet and they'll get you your gift out right away. Thanks for participating, and that was awesome. Did you want to add
Yes.
anything else to that?
Well, no, the vineyard Santa used to be the bearded wine guy.
The bearded wine guy. Oh, that sounds
Yeah,
good.
that does sound good. All right, so
All
we
right.
took
And
care
then
of
before
trivia.
we'll do that, since I'm at the banner
Oh,
section, we're
yes.
gonna do that. Hey, if you do us a favor, if you would follow us on Facebook, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go out to YouTube channel so you can watch all the old episodes or things that we've talked about, people that have been interviewed, past, present. This is season 3. They're all there for you. Please subscribe. It helps with their little algorithmy giggy stuff, and how that I'm not sure it all works, but it does. It works, right?
It works
And
somehow or
so
another.
we'd appreciate your support a lot in it. That would mean a
And,
lot.
and there's also a couple hidden things too. As Michael and I do some traveling, we always post some wonderful travel videos that just shows the craziness that we get into. Because what's our next trip, Michael?
Well, we've got the Jingle Joy retreat coming up in the
That,
end of
that,
May,
but we
and
also
that
have one earlier than that too.
we do. Oh, we're going. Aren't we going to Pennsylvania for?
No, no, we're going to Ohio, to Medina, Ohio for Santa Day at Castle Noel.
Oh, I was thinking it was Pennsylvania.
No,
Why
it's
was
in
I thinking
Ohio.
Pennsylvania?
Because you're probably thinking about the Santa gathering. That's
Oh,
in
maybe.
September.
Wow, was I off?
Yeah,
I'm
but we'll
glad.
keep.
I'm glad you just say show up at my house the following date, spend the night if you have to, and then
Mhm.
go to. Okay,
So,
man,
so
did
just in case
I
you
was
don't
off
know
like how
this,
many states was I? Now that it's Ohio, maybe Doug and Jenny, they're pretty close
oh,
to that, aren't they?
well, that's what I want to say is if you are in the area of Ohio, near Medina, Ohio, there is Castle Noel. The date is May 16th, and it's a wonderful outing. If you need any information, contact Castle Noel and ask about Santa Day on May 16th.
Now they don't they have the museum?
Well, Castle Noel is basically a collection of different Christmas memorabilia. They have the RV from National Lampoon's Christmas
Oh
Vacation,
my gosh, that's like
a-
too funny.
as well as over 5,000 props from the Jim Carrey version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, as well as a replica of the slide from the Christmas Story that Ralphie got kicked down from.
That's fun. There was some trivia I heard about that Santa. Who was it? Oh, Sam! Last week that should have
Yes.
been. Maybe we should have made that a trivia question. He had one of Sam's suits on.
Yeah, inside that movie, there were three Santas that actually had a Charles W. Howard style suit on.
That's awesome.
But we have one more tool left, Michael, and
Oh,
that is
yeah.
confidence. And you like this one because of the way he described it. So why don't you take confidence for us?
Well, it's one of those, you have confidence in the ability that you've practiced. In other words, there's a lot of times when I'm out there and I may not tell the story exactly the same way, or I might have missed a word, or I missed a section, but I keep pushing through the story, and I just have confidence that what I'm saying, I believe in providence, that it needs to be providence. In other words, and then John makes the comment, and when he's talking about confidence, he said, "Think of it as the sprinkles on top of a cupcake. They don't do much to improve the taste." All the story components and whatever you're doing. But when you have confidence that you're talking like you know what you're doing and where you're going with it, right? It makes the person, want to give the cupcake a try. Oh, that looks really good. I think I'll give it a try. So confidence in pushing through that story, I think is super important. That's what you wanted me to share, wasn't it?
That's what I wanted you to share. But just remember too is when we do talk about confidence, we're not saying to become very ego driven. remember, from a Santa perspective, we're humble toy makers. And this is the important part, that confidence is something good because it gives your story authenticity. If you're recalling a memory, a North Pole memory, or you're recalling an event, that confidence can make whatever you're saying sound truthful, sound real. Without it, people are just going to look at you and go, okay, and then just move on.
Yeah.
So by having some form of confidence actually impacts the story. Well, those are the 7 tools that we wanted to discuss when coming to storytelling. And storytelling is such a rich art form. There's so many other things we can talk about. But I do want to get to a couple questions here first before we move on to some other general information on
Well, and I
storytelling.
want you to share a story about your story.
Oh,
So
I,
we would
I,
put that.
I was trying to
Go
get
ahead.
out of that one. Well,
Yeah,
the
that's
first one is Troy Beach asked, he has a request for the prop from Etsy. It's the labradorite stone. Where do we get our? Do you know where Blake got the labradorite stones from?
I don't know, but I know Blake has got an Etsy store. I'm not sure if he has them on the stores, but if you can see Blake, I wish I had that information off the top of my head, but I don't. I know it's Etsy. Do you know what his Etsy store name is?
No, not off the top of my head. Troy, if you want to, you can just reach us at kringlebrothers2@gmail.com, and we'll try to get that information to you.
Or
Um,
what do they call a gem artist or a gem specialist person?
a jeweler,
No, jeweler makes jewelry.
a
Gem, I
gemologist.
mean, and if that gem person has glasses, is it a Gemini?
Yes, it could be.
No, all right, never mind. All right, that was a bad stretch for a
That
dad
was a
joke.
bad
I
stretch, but
just
I was
made
just
that off
rolling
the
with
top of
it.
my head. It didn't. All right, it didn't go well. So, okay, another
And the
dad joke.
second,
Go ahead.
another question we have here coming from Santa Lane here is, any suggestions on best headsets for storytelling?
Ooh,
Well, Lane, first of all, we do have to explain. Everybody's familiar with a handheld microphone. That's quite obvious. But when you start looking at from storytelling, especially if you're going to use your hands, you want to look at either a lavalier type microphone, and a lavalier is something that just basically gets usually attached like right around the chest area, or a collar that will be able to go ahead and pick up what you're saying. Or you want to do a headset. Now, I think the ones that we use are from what, Samson?
Samson. Yep,
Samson.
yep.
Yeah, again, that's Samson. And they have these little small headsets that come around the top here. They come in different colors.
Yeah,
I
over
think
the ear. Yep.
we get like a beige. So it actually, it's thin enough where the microphone can literally be hidden within your beard itself.
Yeah.
And those Samson aren't relatively expensive. I think you can get what, $150.
Well, and they're not it's one of those, they're super inexpensive, and then you can go all the way high end to a crown microphone.
Which is
You
looking
know,
$7,000 easy.
yeah, so it's one of those. I always encourage this, kind of like when you same as buying a computer. Get as much memory on the computer as you can. It'll operate with the more memory. So in other words, you go in to Sweetwater Music or whatever your music store is in your area, and try them out and see how natural they sound to you. And then, so as long as you can get a good sound that's clean, and it fits well on your ear, so you don't have to keep playing with it. I know, and that's important to me. I say that because I have no earlobes. My earlobes. I have a recessive gene, right? The science teacher always sent kids to me because I don't have an earlobe. So, which means my ears are small. I know, one of the small things. Yeah, never mind. But and so I have to make sure that it'll fit into that well, because my earlobe's not there to hold it in. So yeah. So listen to the sound, go to the store, and if it sounds good and it's at a price point you can afford, then you use it until that you need something better, and then you move up. Same way with the
Also,
guitars that I've bought, you know.
Also, too, Lane, if you want to, is if you know of a pastor, a minister, or someone who actually gives sermons on Sunday, you may want to talk to them about microphones that they end up using and what they find that's comfortable to them. Again, everyone is different, and every microphone is going to be different. It all depends on the different, what's I'm trying to say here is
Well, the
the different
vignettes that you're
advantages.
and the vignettes that you're in. In other words,
Right.
you don't need something super strong, you know, if you're just speaking to, 30 or 40 kids, you're going to want a little something, and they make some great I have a small MyPro speaker that connects with Bluetooth, and I have the microphone that transmitter and receiver. It's all built into the unit, and that little speaker is perfect for the stuff that I do, especially even in gymnasiums. When I'm at and I'm doing assemblies, for schools, that speaker will handle a gym for me, and so it'll go from my small all the way into the gym, and I'm heard well, and the microphone that they sell with it works really well for me.
Now, the other aspect too is this goes back to the original question, Troy. Blake's information on Etsy is Elfheim Carvings. You can see it in the chat, and that is Elfheim, Elfheim Carvings. Blake was the one that came up with the labradite that we end up using itself, and also composed the original story for it.
Which is
So
awesome.
this would be a good jumping point for you as well. I'm just trying to say, okay, let's see here. All right, yep. Santa Chris was talking about how he went to Castle Noel, and they actually have a suit that Edmund Gwynn wore in A Miracle on 34th Street. Okay, so you're asking about a story that I told. What
Yeah,
was the
in other words,
parameters?
example of a good story when you felt you connected with the children and the story you were telling, and what took place with that.
One of the best stories that I really like to tell, and it's one that I learned from Leon McBride, was the magical snowflake. And I tell this almost every night that I work at Great Wolf Lodge as the way to end the story time, because when I go through the process of looking for the magical snowflake, I introduce the clients to the snowman family, Dad Snowman, Mom Snowman, Junior Snowman, and the littlest snowman as well. But the way I ended up working this is we discover the magical snowflake, which is inside each and every one of us. And that's what makes us so unique and different, just like each snowflake is unique and different. And that's one of the reasons why I and Mrs. Claus love the children so much, is because each of you are different. But you want to know what the best thing is about the magical snowflake? And that's when you share it with other people. And at this point, I take the snowflake silk that I have, and I put that into basically a tearaway bag. And on the count of 3, I rip open the bag, and the snowflake appears, and I look up into the sky. And at that point, the lodge actually has a snow machine mounted in the ceiling. So the snow starts coming down. And then all the children start getting up, and they start dancing in the snow.
That's fun.
And to me, that's probably it's probably one of the most touching stories I have, but there have been so many off the cuff things that is just amazing. How about you?
Well, I think when I'm telling a story, whatever it is, when I get a child, the response of the child to me, in other words, thanking me, or one of the props that we'll do for next week when we talk about props in April is I've done it twice now, right? And every time I've done it, I've had at least one child go, "You are Santa, the real Santa." And so to me, that means I grabbed them. I was able to do some of the things that they shared in the video about connecting with your audience, about feelings and emotions. And so that response that comes back to the child, that's almost like that's my affirmation going, yeah, you scored on that one. So
And I would like to bring this out too is I know I'm very guilty of doing this, and I'm probably sure that there are a few other Santas that feel that they've learned so much, that they have so much information, especially when it comes to like reindeer. You know, when we tell a story, a child or even an adult in some cases don't want it to be a lecture. They
Yeah.
don't want it to be a lesson in the biology of the reindeer. They want the sincerity. They want the magic of the North Pole. So when we do discuss how to create a story, one of the aspects is to basically add detail, but then pull detail out. And that's one of the things as you tell your own stories, learn how to withdraw some of that detail so it doesn't sound like you're a teacher or an instructor,
Hmm.
but rather than a person just sharing their experiences at the North Pole. And that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, there's so much of it. It is an art form, and I go back to the encouragement. It's you. I know your heart's there as a Santa or a Christmas performer, a Mrs. Claus, you know. And so the issue is just like anything else, just polishing it and being yourself and not trying to be mimic somebody else, but taking those things and going, okay, how can I improve on it? And then practicing it and work with it. I'd encourage you to grab that book if you can, work through it. If you can do this is I one of the best ways that I learn is get a group of four of you together and do it like a book review. And then go, all right, let's read the first chapter and then get together and talk about it. And like I said, one of the things that I like about it is John will give you a little bit of homework stuff to practice, and then and with one another. So it's kind of like for me going to the gym. Hate going to the gym alone, but if I can have a friend with me to encourage me and I'm with it, then I can do it a lot better. So grab the book if you would like. Get a couple other Santas or Christmas performances clauses, and use it as a book review and start working through with it, and then practice it. Yeah.
And just too, another comment that just came in as well from Santa Thomas Sharon is that he's getting ready for Northeast Santa Gathering in Hyannis on Cape Cod, May 8th through the 10th. So if any of you are actually in the New England area and really want to go talk to the master of designer beards, get up to Hyannis for the Santa Gathering there. And if you want, you could probably reach out to Thomas to find out exactly all the particulars there as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be
All
awesome.
So
So,
as we get into closing here, we just want to send a special thank you out to the TNL Production Network, Bob, Scott, Spangle, and Angela, and to our wonderful TNL Network family.
yep, each and every one of you, and our special people in our life, Linda and Stacy. Thanks for allowing us and being patient with us, because I know sometimes we can be a little hyper.
A little? Oh, that's just being mild.
Oh, thanks everyone
And,
for listening
and
tonight.
and just remember, next week's show is going to be on props. We're going to just be discussing a few props, so not a lot, but we
And
just
that's
want
not
to
a
act.
joke.
That's not a joke, but it is April Fool's.
I know it is April Fool's, so it was just like, oh, it's a preface. It's not a joke. This is not a joke. We are going to talk about props.
And
And I
surely,
can't wait to share my new prop idea. And then I collaborated with Santa Doug some. I'm just so excited. I can't wait to share it with you.
all right. All
It's
right,
really,
Michael.
it's a good prop.
It is a good prop. It is a
So
great.
may all your days be jolly and your heart shine bright.
May the magic of Christmas fill every aspect of your life.
Remember to be good for goodness sake.
Always spread joy and share kindness to all you see.
Merry
Merry
Christmas,
Christmas
everyone.
to all, and to all a good night.
Thanks for watching.
You know what's funny we forgot to say?
What did we forget?
After party, but one of the things about the after party is
Afterglow
it was
party.
I gotta find his name. It was Santa Kane Smith's birthday today. Happy
Oh,
birthday,
happy
Kane!
birthday. I'm sorry we missed it.
I meant to flag it, and then all of a sudden we got caught up talking, and I completely forgot about it. But just to let you know, Kane, you're in our thoughts. Happy birthday.
There was a priest, a police officer, right? A Santa, right? All walk into a cookie shop together to sit down and have a cookies and milk. Guess what they have in common?
They were looking at microphones?
No, they all listen to the Kringle Time podcast with the Kringle Brothers.
So remember, subscribe, follow. You can find us on YouTube or on Facebook.
Thanks,